Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I'm Tiara. In this video, I would like to present my article review that focuses on understanding Indonesia's student willingness to communicate, or VTC, in the EFL classroom. I will start by a simple question here. Have you ever wondered why Indonesian students who have studied English for years still silent when the teacher asks them to speak? So if you relate to this case, maybe this video will help you to understand the reason why student silent. And here I have collected 10 research article about willingness to communicate in Indonesia to prove, also to try to want to know about that. And yeah, let's learn together. So these are the article that I have wrote before, and this article what we're gonna discuss in this video together. So let's jump to the first article. So the first article is factor influencing Indonesia EFL learners willingness to speak English in classroom by Azwar Harhab and Azwandi 2021. So this study examines why low willingness to speak English, or VTC, is still a problem in Indonesia, and measures statistically which factor cause it the most compared to motivation, confidence, and also grammar ability. And the research used surveys and also interview. And the findings of the article show that anxiety is strongest cause of low VTC, even stronger than weak grammar ability. So the benefit of this article is give statistical proof that the main problem is anxiety, not that students are bad at grammar, so teacher don't need to wait until student master grammar to let them speak. And the strength of the article is strongly relevant to Indonesia, validated instrument, and good interaction to understand VTC problem. And the weakness of the article are only based on one university in West Sumatra and only self-reported data, so it limits references. So next is factor generating anxiety when learning EFL speak scale by Hanifa 2018. So this study aims to deeply understand the sources of anxiety. It identifies in detail what internal factor cause students to feel anxious. And the research used open questionnaire and interviews, and the findings show that students feel anxious because they fear being judged by friends, like confident, feel shy, and come unprepared. And next is benefit of the article is the study give a deep understanding of what students actually feel, and teacher can read direct quotes from student about their fear, not just see statistic. And strength of the article is the study has rich qualitative data which with direct student quotes, and it has depth discussion of internal factor and authentic student perspective. And next, a weakness, and this study has a small sample size, and it has no qualitative validation, and the result cannot be generalized widely. So next is effective variables contribute to Indonesia EFL student with TC within face-to-face and digital environment by Mulyono and Saskia 2021. So this study aims to prove statistically that student internal anxiety is not permanent. Anxiety can change just by changing the learning environment. And the study is use a quantitative survey with correlation and regression analysis. And the study found that students reported feeling much less anxious and more willing to speak in digital environment compared to face-to-face classroom. So this proved that anxiety is not a fixed personality trait, it's strongly influenced by the situation. The benefit of the article is the study give hope to teachers and also the student that anxiety can be overcome. And a teacher can just change the situation if the student are shy in face-to-face class, like maybe make online discussion forums or maybe using video recorders. So next is strength. So the strength of the article is the article provide evidence from the Indonesia context. It makes a direct comparison between two conditions and relevant to post-pandemic digital learning trends. And the weakness of the article is this study only relies on student self-report. It does not observe actual speaking behavior and does not explain in detail which digital activities work best. Next is about an investigation of teacher talk and student talk in Indonesia EFL classroom interaction by Nungseh and Amelia 2024. So this study measures how teacher behavior limits student speaking time. And the research used descriptive qualitative method using FIAC or Flender Interaction Analysis Category Coding System. And this study found that the teacher dominate 74.4% of class time and student only got 10.2% of speaking time and only 0.6% to start conversation on their own, and lecturing was the most common activity at 13.3%. And there is a real proof that external factor of how teachers teach strongly limits student opportunity to speak. And the benefit of the article is the study provide concrete number providing that students have almost no chance to speak. And the strength is there is a study use a standardized FIAC framework is provide clear percentage data and transparent conclusion formulas. And the weakness is study only did one 18-minute observation with one teacher and one class, and it has no student interviews, only the teacher perspective. And next is about exploring teacher power use and student silence in an EFL classroom by Bahar Purwanti and also Setiawan 2022. So the study examines why teacher power and strict grammar correction make students silent. The research used interview and observation of one teacher and 3 students, and the findings show that even when teacher give rewards, students stay silent because they fear strict grammar correction. They prefer silent over being blamed for mistake. And the benefit of the article, the study often teachers eyes that giving reward that is not enough. What matters most is changing how teachers respond to student grammar mistake from pushing to guiding. And strength of the article is study applies power theory, which is relatively used in Indonesia EFL context. It also provides direct student quotes explaining why they stay silent. And the weakness of the article is the study has a very small sample of only one teacher and 3 students. And next is about factor affecting student with TC in EFL classroom at higher institution in Indonesia by Weda Rahman and others in 2021. And the study tests whether interesting topic and group discussion are enough to increase VTC. The research used a survey of 70 graduate students, and the findings show that interesting topic and discussion have 86%, but 36% still feel shame about grammar mistake, and 43% lack confidence to start talking. And the benefit for this article is the studies serve as bridge for several article and prove that even when external factors are improved, internal factors like shame and low confidence still remain. And the strength of the article is use real Indonesian data with clear percentages, and the weakness is this study has a small sample from one university only. Next is exploring communicative language teaching to investigate English communication with VTC in EFL Learners Classroom by William 2023. So the study tests whether communicative language teaching CLT increase VTC in Indonesia. The research used observation, interview, and questionnaires, and the findings showed that CLT with 6 communicative activity made students want to speak, and the benefit from the article is provide concrete example of CLT activities that teachers can directly try in Indonesia classroom. And the strength of the article is use real classroom data from the 3 meetings, and the weakness is the study has no comparison group. And next is about text-based language teaching and VTC in group discussion and public speaking by Fatima and others 2025. So this study tests whether text-based language teaching or TBLT is better than grammatical translation method or GTM. So the research used an experiment with control and experimental group, and the findings show that TBLT caused 5 to 6% improvement in VTC, and the environmental group improved a lot, while the GTM group showed almost no change. And next, about the benefit of this article is provide convincing scientific proof, not just suggestion. And the strength of this article is has a strong experimental design with a control group, and the weakness is the study only look at one university in Pakistan, not in Indonesia. So there is no measurement to long-term effect and need adaptation to Indonesia. And next is digital communication effective and digital communication activities and EFL learners VTC and engagement by Han and others 2024. And the study tests whether digital activity increase VTC and which work best. And the research used the experiment with 18 students and interview, and the findings show that digital activities cause 95.5% improvement in VTC, and students feel safe because there was no grammar correction. And the benefit of this article is provide practical guidance for teacher, and it shows which digital activities work best. And the strength of the article is has very large effect size of 95.5%, and it used an experimental design with a control group. And the weakness is the participants were Chinese university students, not Indonesia, and the result need adaptation for Indonesia's secondary school or other school. And the last is exploring supportive classroom environment in relation with students with TC in English by Maulana and Kanla Devi 2025. So this study measures whether teacher support and peer support is increased with TC, and research used a survey of 156 students in Bekasi, and the findings show a positive correlation of 0.413 between a supportive classroom and VTC. So the benefit of this article is proof that solutions are not only about what method to use or what medium to use, but also how teacher treats student emotionally. It can more important and make method more effective. And the strength of the article is has a large sample, the most Indonesian willingness to speak studies with 153 students. So the weakness of the article is the study use a correlation design with cannot prove cause and effect. It's only relationship. So that's all about the article, and now we're gonna move to the connect each article. So after study about 10 article, we know that all those articles are connected each other, and we can divide it in three batches to make it simple. The first batch is internal influence, the second is external influence, and the third is solution. Okay, for those article, we know that we can say from those article are connected, that the problem of low VTC is in Indonesia is not simply because students are shy or lazy, but in batch one we know that anxiety is a base of anxiety of the cause of VTC. And the second batch we show that anxiety is made worse by a bad teaching system where teachers dominate and focus only on grammar correction. And from the batch 3, which is there are 4 articles there, prove the solution about like CLT, TBLT, and also emotional trauma can solve the problem, the VTC problem. So yeah, that's all from me. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.